We're going to drive 7,000 kilometers in 12 days across the Arabian Peninsula, from Dubai on the Persian Gulf, across the Empty Quarter Desert, the Arabian Shield, and the Great Nafud Desert, ending at the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aqaba. Stage 1 of our journey was a 1,200 kilometer drive from Dubai to the edge of the world near Riyadh. Given we would need to cross the UAE-Saudi border and the unpredictable nature of crossing any border, we decided to break up this stage into 2 parts. Part 1 would be from Dubai to Al Hafuf, which is roughly 700 kilometers from Dubai, and stage 2 would be from Al Hafuf to Riyadh and the edge of the world. However, Hafuf was still a very long way to go, and we didn't know if we could get through the border. Our trip was planned just a few days before Saudi opened up again to tourism, and we didn't know if the land border between the UAE and Saudi Arabia was open. So that was the last stop before we hit the border, before we arrive to Saudi Arabia. The last time we tried this trip, it didn't go entirely to plan. COVID hit, and by the time we got to the border it was closed. I'm hoping we'll be able to get in this time. We did it. We were finally in Saudi Arabia. With the UAE border behind us, we were driving towards Hafuf through the Empty Quarter. The road goes as far as the eye can see. For hundreds of kilometers, nothing but road and desert. Be mindful to fill up with fuel once you exit the border, because once you enter the Empty Quarter, the petrol stations are few and far between. As you approach Hafuf, the sand dunes start to give way to buildings and date trees. We made good time along the freeway and entered Hafuf just before sunset. There are some interesting sights in Al Hafuf, so I'm glad we decided to stay there. We also decided to stay in a hotel in Al Hafuf instead of camping. We knew we would get there quite late in the evening and didn't want to spend time looking for a camp spot. It also meant that we would be right in the centre of town, near the sites we wanted to see in Al Hafuf the next day. We stayed at the Intercontinental Hotel Al Ahsa, which is excellent. The staff are friendly and helpful, and the rooms are modern and clean. Breakfast was very nice too. One of the sites we wanted to visit in Al Hafuf is Al Qura Mountain, or Jebel Al Qura. It's located in the eastern side of the city, around 15 kilometers from the centre. The mountain counts as one of the most important natural sites in Al Ahsa and is registered under the UNESCO World Heritage Site since 2018. About 100 million Saudi Riyal have been spent developing the site for tourism. The project, named Land of the Civilizations, include preparing the main caves, lighting, groundwork, museum and a history, and also cafe and a theatre. It's an obsession. It really is an obsession. Not the same skill. Okay guys, let's go.
I think Thomas is still doing his teeth.
Al Hafuf is originally a Bahraini city. The city proper has a population of 150,000 and is part of a larger populated oasis area of towns and villages of around 600,000. Al Ahsa Oasis has been inhabited since prehistoric times due to its abundance of water in an otherwise arid region. The Queen of Sheba is also fabled to have visited the city from her kingdom in Yemen. Natural freshwater springs have surfaced at the oasis and in the region for millennia. With an area of around 85 square kilometers, the oasis is the largest oasis in the world. There are more than 2.5 million palm trees, including date palms, in the oasis. One of the sites we wanted to see was Al Safra Lake, or also known as the Yellow Lake. The lake is a historic landmark of Ahsa and was mentioned by some historians in Abbasid and Islamic Golden Era. In 2018, Ahsa Oasis became the 5th Saudi site to be recognised by the UNESCO World Heritage. To visit the lake, we took the 6614 freeway. There is a small sign just before the lake that identifies the track. The track is around 5 or 6 kilometers to the lake itself. Once you arrive at the lake, the best views are from the north, where the dunes are highest and give way straight to the water below. The views from the highest dune of the lake are breathtaking. Be mindful though not to drive too close to the edge of the dune, as recovery from the other side would be almost impossible. The contrast between the dark blue lake and the white sand dunes is stunning. After a short play in the sand, we headed on our journey towards Riyadh. The journey from Al Hafouf to Riyadh is along a well-maintained freeway. We entered Riyadh around lunchtime, and after stopping for a quick break, we headed onwards towards the edge of the world where we would camp. The edge of the world is located northwest of Riyadh. It's around 2.5 to 3 hours from Riyadh city centre. There is a section on a graded track which takes you about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Most of the track is graded, but some of the track is quite rough. The edge of the world is one of Saudi Arabia's most popular tourist destinations. It gets its name from the uninterrupted view of the horizon on top of the 300-metre cliffs. The cliffs are a result of tectonic movement of the Arabian Plate towards the northwest caused by the spread of the Red Sea Rift, 1,000 kilometres to the west. The clear-cut rock reveals layers of sediment that accumulated there when the eastern part of the Arabian Peninsula was a shallow tropical sea during the Jurassic period, around 150 million years ago. We camped at the edge of the night and then in the morning prepared to set off for the next stage of our journey. However, there was a problem. Philip's tent had broken during the night, and he was adamant that he needed to drive back to Riyadh to get a new tent. That would be a 6-hour drive there and back. I did my best to persuade him to try and pick a different city to buy a new tent, but he wasn't having any of it.
Your tent?
Yep, brand new tent from Decathlon, specially bought for this trip.
But are you sure there's not another plan?
Yeah, Riyadh. I'm going to Riyadh.
On the way back. But I don't think
I'm going to civilization. I'm going to buy a tent.
My abs having a real workout. No, but honestly, Bremy would be
A gamble.
It's a gamble.
At least, but if that's a gamble and it fails, at least I've got Bremy. Bremy fails, I've got nothing.
You do have something.
go on the long drive back, right?
Is anyone willing to take a second person in their tent?
I'm going to Saudi.
It was only day 2 of our trip, and Philip was already departing back to Riyadh to meet us somewhere in the desert on the remainder of our trip. Would he get back in time? Join us on the next episode to find out and continue the journey from Riyadh to Al Ola.